Has your band spent hours practicing and rehearsing, learning new songs, and preparing for a live show? You get to the show, you play the show of your life, and then not get paid? Stick around, I got some tips and advice on what to do if your band doesn't get paid at a gig. Okay, so I want to give you guys some quick background about today's topic. Basically, I'm involved in many different musician forums and whatnot, and YouTube being one of them. And I had somebody actually message me, email me, and ask what to do about a situation where they're not getting paid, and the band has been offered less money than what they originally booked for. And they're getting a lot of runaround, and the owner, yeah, I'll e-transfer you next week. Well, next week comes and nothing. Now, here's the amazing thing. The band that emailed me, I'm not familiar with the band that emailed me asking me for advice, but I'm familiar with the venue because I played gigs at this venue. I'm not going to mention the venue because I'm not going to drag them through the mud. However, I am familiar with this venue because I have played gigs there before. All I'm going to say is the venue is in Orangeville, Ontario. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, now, first and foremost, whenever you're negotiating a gig, there's several things that you have to do to prepare for the negotiation. Now, some people believe that you should be in the union, and then you've got someone that you can turn to fight for you that has legal lawyers and whatnot. And even if it's only a $500 gig, you still have somebody to fight for you. So obviously you're gonna have to set up being in the union prior to getting any gigs at all. Now, I'm gonna be totally honest, most bands are weekend warriors. There are very few full-time pro bands that are playing bar gigs. It's just the way it is. They do venue gigs. They don't do bar gigs. So they are usually in the union. When you're a full-time musician and you're touring and you're playing in various different places, quite often you're in the union. Not always, but quite often. So that's number one. If you're in the union, you got someone to turn to that can help you. Now, if you're not in the union, like I would say 95% of weekend warrior bands, and you're just either dealing with an agent or you're booking on your own. So let's deal with the agent first. The agent can fight for you because the agent wants to get paid too. And the agent also has means to access potentially lawyers and whatnot if necessary. Now, the thing about lawyers is, and I am going to mention that I'm going to talk about the lawyers a little bit more later. But the thing about lawyers is that it's probably going to cost you more to get a lawyer to do the work for you to get your $500 than your $500. So you're going to end up paying, $2,000, $3,000, whatever, to get a lawyer to get you a $500 gig. Plus, you've cut your throat. You will not be playing at that venue again, and possibly may have cut your throat in the sense that word gets around. Now, I wouldn't worry about the last one, but it is something to think about. Okay, now the lawyer thing. So you don't get paid, and they threaten that you didn't do a good show, or I shouldn't say they threaten, they tell you that you didn't do a very good show, you sucked, and that's why you're not getting paid. Well, you can use the lawyer thing just as a threat. I know that sounds kind of crappy, but you can say, well, my lawyer is going to talk to you then. Sometimes just mentioning a lawyer gets these places nervous, and whether you have one or not, you can use it in terms of, hey, my lawyer is going to get in contact with you. Now, of course, if you actually don't have a lawyer, and most of these businesses do have lawyers, they may just call your bluff and say, sure, get your lawyer to contact our lawyer. Here's our lawyer's info. That could happen. But still, even the mention of it, let them know that you're not fooling around. Okay, now One of the things that happens quite often with bands when they book with clubs is they don't get anything in writing. I always insist you get everything in writing. So if you're in negotiation with a venue, you agree on a price, let's say it's $600 for the night, we'll make sure that you have a contract signed and all the details written out. For example, $600 payment, the band gets a drink each of alcohol. There's potentially free pop and potentially a free meal, or at least 50% off a meal. Whatever the terms are, don't just go on, oh, we get a free meal? Oh, great. And don't put that in your contract. Put all those things in your contract. Everything that they say they're going to give you, put it in the contract. Because if it turns out, the waitress doesn't know the contract. So when the waitress comes and gives you the bill, and then you go, wait a second, this is supposed to be free. Oh, I'm not aware of that. You can pull out the contract and show it to her, and she can show the manager, and then the manager goes, oh, okay, we didn't know. That is one way to use that contract. Another way to use the contract is in the situation that this band that emailed me. So the band that emailed me is outlining everything I just said. They're not getting paid, but then they negotiated a half payment, or just over half, which is bullshit, by the way. They're supposed to get $400, and I'm going to talk about low-paying gigs in a moment. They were supposed to be paid, it's a 4-piece band, they're supposed to be paid $400, $100 each. This is my major pet peeve, but like I said, I'll get into that in a minute. And they were supposed to get one free drink each, alcohol, and a free meal each. So, okay, they got the $100 each, they get a drink, and they get a meal. So it's going to equate to $150, $160, which is a little bit better. But guess what? They didn't get any of that in writing. So as a result, the owner is now not only saying that she didn't agree to $400, but she did agree to $400, but she's deducting all the food and booze off of the $400, so she's only going to pay them $232. Now, this is why I stopped doing bar gigs, because $232, come on. It's 2025. Divide that up between 4 people. It's frickin' peanuts. It's a complete and utter and absolute waste of time, and it's my major, major pet peeve. So, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? So, in the email, I gave them some recommendations, which I'm going to lay out right now. Number 1, stop the email trail. Stop emailing them and saying, I'm just reminding you, you owe us this money, blah, blah, blah. You can have more conversations with them that are a little bit more, and I'm not going to say aggressive, but at least conversation. So start off with a phone call as opposed to an email. If you can get a hold of them, that's the most difficult thing. So if you can get a hold of them, then you can outline your case over the phone. If you cannot get a hold of them because they know who they're dealing with and they just don't want to talk to you, they don't want to pay you, so they just avoid, and they figure that you're just some crummy little band from somewhere that eventually you are going to just give up. Don't give up. Show up at the venue. Find out inadvertently when the owner is going to be there. So don't just march in there demanding to see the owner, because most likely the owner is not going to be there. So what you do is you go there, you're having a drink, whatever, you're just hanging out, and then you just say, hey, to one of the bartenders or a waitress, does the owner come around much? What would you say? They come on a Monday, a Tuesday. When does the owner come around? I just want to talk to them about something. They'll tell you, because they don't realize probably who you are or why you're there or what your mission is. So they'll say, yeah, I'm usually here on Saturday, Friday, Tuesday, whatever. Now you know when to come. So you finish your drink and you leave. Then you show up on that Saturday in person And you confront the owner and say, look, I'm from the band so-and-so. I'm the band leader. We were supposed to get paid. Can we please go into your office and discuss this? Now, sometimes they'll say, oh, I'm too busy. I'm too busy. This is where you've got to be somewhat aggressive and say, look, we need to clear this up. I need to talk to you. Please don't blow me off. Let's talk about this, and try to be aggressive with them in that sense, but not overly aggressive, not FUs and start swearing and yelling, because that's going to get you nowhere. That's just going to get you kicked out. So that's my next tip. When you actually do talk to them, whether it be on the phone or in person, be calm, be rational, point out to them that, what was discussed. Now, like I said, without a contract, it's much more difficult, because they can just say, yeah, I didn't agree to that. Oh, yes, you did. No, I don't think I did. And then it's your word against theirs, and you got nothing. If you've got the contract, you can say, well, I will send you the contract. Or if you're in person, you can say, here it is right here. Here's what you agreed upon. Here's your signature. Please pay us appropriately. Like I said earlier, the next step, if you get nowhere, if they tell you to beat it, if they give you the runaround, yeah, I'll pay you next week, you've got to say, can you please pay me now? You can e-transfer me right now or give me the cash. I will wait. And you literally stay in their face and bug them. I know this is an aggressive approach, but this is sometimes what you've have to do. I've had to do it, people. This is exactly what I have done. Okay, now, option number 3, like I mentioned earlier, lawyering up. It's going to be a threat. It could be dangerous. It could backfire. But if all hope is lost and you're not going to get paid at all, you can threaten them with the union first. Well, I'm going to contact the musicians union. I'm a member of the union, and they're going to have to deal with this, and they're going to be contacting you. So you can talk about the union only if it's a last-ditch effort, you're not getting the money. Number 1, if they laugh at that and say, whatever, go and talk to your union, then you can finally pull out as a last-ditch effort, well, I'm going to have to talk to the union, a lawyer, provided you don't have an agent. If you have an agent, get the agent in on this conversation as well. So the agent is going to call and try to talk to the owner and say, hey, one of my bands played at your venue on this date. Whether they played badly or not, because they're going to say, well, they played badly, that's why we didn't want to pay them. Well, they showed up, they did their thing, you've hired them before, etc., so you need to pay them. Because in the email that I was sent, one of the things the band said was, they were told, you played terribly, the band sucks, that's why we're not paying you. But then they gave them another gig. So that doesn't make any sense. So the owner is just using that as an excuse. The owner's a woman. She probably just had a bad night, and maybe they were playing songs that the crowd just wasn't really into. That's possible. So the crowd complained about the band because not that they sucked, but they just weren't playing songs that people are interested in. The danger of any bar gig is you don't know who's going to show up. And you got your set list, and you're going to play your set list, and you're going to play your songs. Not everybody's going to like every song. There's always going to be one in there, oh no, I hate this song. Or I don't like, some fans, you take Led Zeppelin fans, for example, because they're really hardcore. The real hardcore Led Zeppelin fans do not like it when bands play their stuff because in their opinion, they're butchering it. And quite often they are. So I gotta support the Zeppelin fans. A lot of times bands do butcher Zeppelin tunes. Now, if the tribute band, tribute's a whole different thing. People know what they're getting. They're gonna get a band that duplicates, or at least attempts to duplicate, another band's material. But when you're in a bar band and you go from band to band to song to song to song, you're not always gonna sound like the artist. Some people are going to be happy, some people are not. So I don't know the circumstances about this particular night. I'm just guessing based on 40 years of experience of playing live gigs, that perhaps the patrons just weren't fans of the bands that these guys were playing. I'm not saying the bands suck. Maybe they do suck. I don't know. But oftentimes it's not that the band sucks. It's just that they're not playing the songs that the people want to hear. So this leads me to the last ditch effort, which is, and I do not condone any kind of violence. Do not threaten violence. Do not threaten that you're going to tell everybody about how crappy this place is. Do not do anything like that in person. Now, you can go on social media and you can say things on social media about this particular venue. You know, we played it. It's informing. It's not necessarily belittling them. It's informing people. Hey, you know, we played such and such a gig at this place, and they didn't pay us. So you can get the word out. And then people can decide for themselves, oh, I don't like that place if they're not going to pay bands. So they can decide if they want to go or not. But threatening and being aggressive, whether it be, I'm going to ruin your business, or I'm going to punch you in the face, or whatever, you don't want to do that, because now we're talking about police involvement. Last thing you want to do is get bar owners who have a lot more money than you probably, getting the police involved and then getting lawyers involved and all that nonsense. You don't want to go down that road. Okay, last ditch effort, as I said, if they absolutely, you've done everything, you know, you've called, first of all, you've emailed, which I don't recommend, avoid the emailing. Call them if you can. Email is something that obviously it's easy. Oftentimes people just blow off emails. It's nothing, right? You know, call, you can text perhaps. Again, people can blow those off too. In person, and then when you're in person, don't give up. Stick around, make sure that they're going to pay you. If that doesn't work, then you can talk about your agent. If you're in the union, you can use the union. Technically, you could use the union even if you're not in the union, just as a potential motivator. But again, if you can't back anything up that you're going to say, you don't have a lawyer, you're not in the union, you don't even have an agent, but you use those threats, it's bluffing. Oftentimes, they're going to know that you're bluffing, and you may be cutting your own throat. But, I mean, it is something that you can try, but it's up to you. I'm not actually recommending the bluffing. I'm just throwing it out there as an idea. But last ditch effort is to just show up and keep bugging them until they finally pay, you know, and make sure you have a contract. That's the key. That is the absolute key. Okay, so after you do your post on, you know, Facebook, Instagram, you might even do what I'm doing, do a YouTube video, whatever. After you inform the public of what happened to you at this particular venue, so you're getting the word out, slightly shaming them a little bit, but you're getting the word out. You can also go on to Google reviews or whatever reviews and review them and just explain in your review, yeah, we played a gig there, they didn't pay us, and you shame them in their review. That is a big thing, because they're gonna see that. They're gonna see that review. They may end up contacting you and say, look, we're gonna pay you, remove your review, because that review could hurt them. Or they're not going to care, and they're just going to say, whatever, who cares, we don't care, it's one review. There's 500 good reviews, and we got a band who was disgruntled. But I'm just saying that it's another option. Use social media to your advantage when you are in a bad situation with a bar owner. Now, I have never not been paid. Thousands and thousands and thousands of gigs I've done, I got paid for every single one. Now, I ran into a problem at various places where they didn't want to pay us for whatever reason. New Year's Eve, I think I told a story on my channel about New Year's Eve that I caught the son of the owner snorting cocaine. He got upset because I caught him, which I never even said a word to him in the bathroom when he was in there. I just saw him, did my thing, washed my hands, and left. There was no words exchanged. But because he thought, for whatever stupid reason, I was going to rat him out and tell his father, the owner, he decided to tell his dad, yeah, the band was terrible. We didn't pay them, and we're not going to pay them. Well, word came out because a bartender stood up for me and said, yeah, he's full of shit. The band played amazing. He just got busted in the bathroom. And then the dad did find out, not from me, but he found out from the bartender that his son's got a coke habit. So anyways, the dad was quite upset about that, and he ended up paying the band. But you've got to be diligent in your pursuit. Don't give up. Don't let these owners off the hook. And if you do have access to a lawyer, and you can get them to just even write just a letter demanding the money and find out how much it costs. It's probably expensive, but if you can do that, do that. Anyways, guys, those are some of my tips. Dealing with owners can be difficult, which is why I don't do bar gigs anymore. I'm not saying to you guys quit all the bar gigs. All I'm saying is stand up to the owners and don't let them push you around, even if you are a crappy band. Oh, the other thing I was going to say was, this is a pet peeve of mine. Stop taking these shitty, low-paying gigs. I'm sorry. A lot of bands out there are willing to take $300-400 a night. It's garbage. $500, $600, that has to be the minimum. Even $600, not even $500. $600 has got to be the minimum, with a meal and possibly with a drink. And if you don't drink like me, maybe an orange juice or a pop or whatever. Usually they give you that stuff free anyways. Who wants to deal with an owner that's going to be so difficult to deal with and not only pay you crappy money, but then even cut you down lower by saying, oh, you owe for your food and your drinks? Like, it's absolutely ridiculous, and I can't stand dealing with these people. So if the band that emailed me is watching this, please, you can email me again and we can discuss this a little bit further. I can go into more detail with you. But anyways, I wanted to get on here because you guys motivated me to discuss this, because I know that this is a topic that people sometimes just absolutely don't know how to deal with. Anyways, guys, thanks a lot for watching. And as always, keep drumming. See ya.